Good morning, I'm Lama Jigme, and this is Enlightened Fitness, where first we'll use high-intensity body weight interval training to cultivate the body of a Tantric Sex God, and then we'll use guided meditation to help cultivate both the heart and the mind of a Buddha. If this is your first time tuning in, I'll draw your attention to a little teeny button about 3 inches below the video that reads Show More. When you click that, that'll reveal a list of links as long as my arm. These links lead to free resources that answer your question about nutrition, warming up, exercises, how to sit, how to count your finger creases, and how to meditate. One of the first links you'll find will take you to a page on my website where all of the Enlightened Fitness videos have been organized. First, organized by length of workout. There's a box for 10-minute workouts, for 8-minute workouts, for 2-minute workouts. You get the idea. So here's the idea. Within each box, they're organized by length of guided meditation. So do yourself a favor and start off with a 3-minute guided meditation. Then move on to a 6-minute one. Set yourself up for success. Humility counts. Okay. Exercise is fun. It makes you strong. It releases endorphins. It gets your heart and lungs going. That's wonderful. But it's no substitute for a sane diet. I've tried just about every diet, and the one I've had the best results with could be described as the low-fat, whole food, plant-based diet. The links below will take you to a page where you can get your hands on books that have been written by physicians. Now, I didn't write those books, so I can give them to you for free, but I can hook you up with a discount provider for those books. One of those books I really enjoy is Healthy Eating, Healthy World by J. Morris Hicks. In this portion of the book, we're going to explore the ecological ramifications of an omnivorous diet. The heading begins, everything is connected. When humankind discovered centuries ago that we live on a spherical planet, we started down the road of becoming aware that the Earth is a whole system in which all parts are connected. The plethora of global environmental issues we are experiencing today is constantly driving home that point. To summarize our dilemma, the world already has too many people, yet we continue to grow at a rapid rate. On top of that, the developing world is rapidly adopting the highly inefficient and environmentally destructive Western diet. The land available to feed the world is decreasing every year. This drives us to continue to run roughshod over the planet in search of more land. With the desertification of former farmlands continuing at a frightening rate around the world, the prognosis for our sustained ability to feed the world is downright scary. We discuss this further in Chapter 6. And let's not forget the problems associated with our water supply, the loss of species, and the looming issue of global warming. The sum of our dilemma is mind-boggling, but a large part of the solution is refreshingly simple. The author John Robbins sums it up well. We undermine our survival if we pollute our air and water, if we destroy the rainforests and deplete our natural resources. Increasing numbers of people today are aware of the need to honor the earth and to reduce our ecological footprint. Yet few of us realize there is something we could all do that would have a tremendous impact on reducing pollution, conserving resources, and protecting our precious planet and the life it holds. There is indeed one action within the grasp of each and every one of us that can help us to turn the tide. and yet most of us don't know what it is. I'm talking about what you eat. Collectively, we have created a global crisis in the past century, and collectively, we need to fix it. For that, we need leadership, but unfortunately, most of our leaders, even those few who might have understood the devastating environmental impact of our Western diet, have apparently concluded that a planned, deliberate move away from it is unrealistic. I hear it all the time. Lots of people have heard that eating meat causes much of global warming and other environmental problems, but they think it would be too extreme, too radical, or unrealistic to try to adopt a plant-based diet. Fortunately, that feeling is beginning to change, and the grassroots movement that is driving the change received a shot in the arm in September 2010 when Bill Clinton announced that he had started eating a plant-based diet. Although he didn't do it for environmental reasons, the fact that he switched over will convince millions of people worldwide that his new diet could possibly be realistic after all. With a few more high-profile endorsements like this one, the widespread return to the natural diet for our species will gather momentum. Approximately 1 million additional Americans are shifting to a primarily plant-based diet each year. Many of them are college students who are 6 times more likely to be vegetarian than all other adults in the country. As we know, college students love to get behind what they consider positive change. Just as they helped elect Barack Obama president, these educated young people will be major players in this critical process of inevitable change. Humans must ultimately become more environmentally responsible citizens of the world. We have already reached the breaking point for the cost of healthcare in much of the world. Likewise, we'll soon reach a breaking point for many environmental issues. Continue down our current path is simply no longer an option. It is overwhelmingly unsustainable. Allow me to share with you in conclusion a Native American proverb. We do not inherit the land from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. During tomorrow, we'll explore the ramifications of what we eat on the petrochemical industries. But let me remind everyone that it's not enough just to eat plant-based foods. If we want to be healthy, they have to be whole foods as well as plant-based. Refined foods are bad for you. They are bad for your heart, they're bad for your brain. They cause atherosclerosis, which causes stroke, heart attack, and sexual dysfunction. They can carry carcinogens, which is just a death sentence. So if you want to be healthy, make it a whole food diet. If you want to be lean and healthy, make it a low-fat, whole foods, plant-based diet. Well, that concludes this morning's flogging. So let's get busy with the workout. Let's warm up by performing 2 repetitions of Indian-inspired 12-phase sun salutation. It is my intention to lead you through 5 circuits of 5 exercises each. The question is, will I be able to make those 5 circuits? As I had quite the adventuresome outing to a medical appointment yesterday. Yes, I have a very small world I live in. And high adventure is now simply going on errands. But let's see, make this an experiment and see how far we can go. First set of heel-oriented squats. First set of toe jumping squats. Okay. First set of piking presses. First set of core thrusters. You'll notice these exercises do not isolate muscles. They get the muscles to cooperate. That is the key to real strength, useful strength. After working out with isolation exercises in high school, when I worked in a factory, I noticed that all my curls did not give me more strength than carrying heavy things. First set of door strap shins. Second set of heels. Second toes. Oy vey. Okay. Second press. Second thrust. Second chin. Third, press. Third thrust. Third chin. Fourth, heel. Fourth toe. Fourth, press. Fourth thrust. Fourth, chin. Wow. Fifth and final circuit. Fifth heel. Fifth toe. Fifth 5th thrust. Lastly, 5th chin. That, my friends, concludes this morning's 8-minute high-intensity body weight interval training. Whew. Woo! Such a workout. Water, beverage of choice. The last 2 mornings, I've led you on a 24-minute guided meditation. Today will be closer to 27. Whew. Most of it will be review. Only one section, approximately 3 minutes long, will be new. Every session builds on the one that came before it. So if this is your first time, by all means, find a recording or a video where the guided meditation is just 3 minutes. Okay, Junior Hawkman, let's take to the skies. Please sit erect. Please place your left hand palm up in your lap. Please place your right hand palm up in your left. Thumbs do not touch each other. Whew. Let's begin with alternate nostril breathing. In through left, out through right. In through right, out through left. In through both, out through both. Let's switch to the one-syllable paradigm. Left, right. Right, left. Both, both. Left, right. Right, left. Both, both. Now it's time to play with the silent version of Po Wan's rehearsal of transference of consciousness at the time of death. We'll begin by cultivating universal love. We give to each great rebirth. We're going to borrow some techniques from the Chagchen category of contemplations, where we play with our channels, winds, and drops. Great rebirth, out through crown. Where crown Om, releasing. Let's take the union of bliss and letting go, bring it into the one-syllable paradigm. Om, free. Now let's play with gratitude training. Thanks for what? Releasing. Thanks, teacher. Releasing. Where hearts whom? Releasing. Quick reminder, the whom is a teeny tiny blue mustard seed sized syllable whom, H-U-M, or just an H. About a thumb's width in front of your central channel, about a thumb's width in front of your spine, in the upper third of your chest. Whom free. This is great in the morning, not so good before bed. It might get you too hyper. Now we return to awareness and letting go with this ease. Now let's review the way of adjusting our physiology to heighten our sense of bliss. Why pull head releasing? Because of course when we imagine our head being pulled, we don't lead with the back of our head or the forehead, but with our front bone, the top of our head, our crown. How long breath? Jaw relax. Where tongue tip, releasing. Why grin now? releasing. Now let's review the union of analysis and letting go. How am I dependent? How could I always change? How could I not be me? How could I be funny? Grin with lips, releasing. Noticing, relaxing. This ease. The Mahayana Buddhists insist that in his 40-year teaching career, Buddha gave 84,000 discourses. The fundamentalists insist that is an exact number. The liberals insist it's just trope. It's either metaphor or hyperbole. Either way, that's a whole lot of teachings, especially if you think about, a handful of teachings a day, 365 days a year for 40 years. It does pile up. So it should not come as any surprise that Buddha occasionally summarized his teachings in outline form. Why, even the three famous sutras, the Anapanasati Sutta, the Satipatthana Sutta, and the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, are thought of by some teachers to be the same lesson in its concise, middling, and extensive formats. Within centuries after Buddha's death, various authors attempted to compile his teachings in outline form. This is done in the Tantric and the Sutric circles of the Theravada, as well as the Tantric circles of the Vajrayana. In Tibet, this idea of organizing the teachings not by date but by subject was called Lam Rim, or graduated path, which can better be translated as steep path with stairs. Everything we've done in today's lesson thus far has been a centering exercise. The alternate nostril breathing, the Hoa, the Guru Yoga, the bliss adjustments, and yes, even the union of analysis and letting go. All of that could be considered warming up, centering down. There are some Buddhists who insist the first Lam Rim was introduced by Padmasambhava. Others insist the first Lam Rim in Tibet was introduced by the Bengali prince turned monk named Atisha. In his text, the lamp to light, his lamp to lighten the path to enlightenment. Within a generation or two after that, the Nyingmas, the Kagyus, I take it back, the Kagyus, the Nyingmas, and the Gilligs each had their own batch of Lam Rims. A particularly prolific Gillig founder, Lama Tsongkhapa, wrote several Lam Rims. His extensive one was thicker than a Yellow Pages or a phone book. But I'm concerned, or most excited about, his concise version. He said the entire path to enlightenment could be summarized under three headings: the teachings of renunciation, the teachings of compassion, and the teachings of wisdom. Today we're going to explore the contemplations of renunciation in a concise format. A format that takes approximately just 3 minutes. Now, when most people think about renunciation, they think about renunciation from the fundamentalist point of view, which goes something like this. Well, okay, kids, if it feels good, don't do it! Oh my God, no! That's also what we like to call a buzzkill. As a liberal, what I try to renounce is suffering. and of course, the causes of suffering. And it can be very simple. If you consider mangled fingers to be suffering, then not only should you renounce the mangling of your fingers, but you should renounce the cause of the mangling of your fingers, which would be sticking your hand in a running garbage disposal. Or, if you consider being beaten and arrested to be suffering, then renounce being beaten and arrested, and also renounce the causes of being beaten and arrested, such as running up to a cop and kicking him in the shins, an activity I would not recommend. A fundamentalist would say we should meditate on how all things are suffering. But at best, that statement is hyperbole or hyperbole. It's an exaggeration to make a point, because not everything is suffering every moment. Yes, eating 2 gallons of ice cream in one sitting might make you violently ill. But 1 teaspoon, that first teaspoon of ice cream, might make you feel really happy. Yes, a relationship may end in tears. But that first week, you are intoxicated in your endorphins and you are walking on sunshine. So not everything is all suffering all the time. But we can explore how things could fail to satisfy. Now, as you know, I've told you many times my lineage is tantric, and I think sex is a great source of illustrations. Who can remember puberty and the enthusiasm to have sex? Remember the first time you actually had sex with another person? You know, at that moment you probably thought, that was awesome. When can we do it again? See, here's the thing. Sex, even awesome sex, is not satisfying, because eventually you'll want it again. So the best meal does not stop you from wanting more food eventually. The best sex does not stop you from wanting more sex. The best meal does not, the best perfume does not relieve you of the desire to smell more perfume. You know, the most beautiful sunset does not stop you from the desire to watch more sunsets. So everything that is a source of pleasure ultimately fails to satisfy. Now that's true, or at least possibly true, for pleasure. Isn't it even more true for pain? Obviously, having the flu does not satisfy us. You know, obviously, bruising our leg does not satisfy us. Obviously, getting our feelings hurt does not satisfy us. And so if neither pleasure nor pain satisfies us, then clearly the neutral stuff doesn't satisfy us either. You can say, hey, what about a masochist? Well, for a masochist, what you and I consider pain, they may consider pleasure. And if it's pleasure, they'll want more. So it will fail to satisfy. Now, I'm a liberal, I'm not a fundamentalist, I'm not asking anybody to believe anything blindly or rigidly. But this can be an empowering possibility to explore. And that's what we're going to do right now in the very first contemplation of this set. How this not satisfy. Remember, these are rhetorical questions. We cheat ourselves if we try to answer them. It's more effective if instead we ask the question and relax. How this not satisfy. The second contemplation of this set is the rhetorical question, why turn from suffering's cause? And that's very cryptic, so I'll flesh it out for you. Why renounce sufferings and the causes of sufferings? Now, that's too many syllables. If we put that in one breath, we could turn blue, tip over, fall on the floor, and wiggle funny. And then scare the poor cat. And no one wants that. So, how this, why turn from suffering's cause? There was a television show, a sci-fi television show called Babylon 5. And I'm kind of a sci-fi snob, and I didn't like Babylon 5. I thought it was poorly written, poorly directed. But there was a great scene where this warrior and this physician are stranded somewhere. And so they begin talking. And the warrior says, I hope this is an unjust universe, because I would hate to think I deserved half the shit I've experienced. But that's pretty much the opposite of what Buddha taught. The first noble truth is, yes, Virginia, there is suffering. Life is not always an all-you-can-eat buffet. Sometimes there are sufferings. The second noble truth, and of course I'm paraphrasing, is that if there's sufferings, those sufferings are not random. They're the results of various causes. Now, when it comes to suffering, there's two extremes and a happy medium. First extreme says, there's no justice. I am at the whim of a capricious God who has a one-man vendetta against me. And that's what we call painting yourself as the victim. On the other extreme, we have this. I must do everything perfect all the time. I must think perfect thoughts and say perfect things and do perfect things. Otherwise, you know, the karmic hammer of the universe will slap me silly. That's what we call fearful, unrealistic perfectionism. In between, we have the happy medium that says, I can't control everything. I can't control everybody and every circumstance. I cannot control, you know, I'm not going to, it is unrealistic to expect that my every thought, my every word, my every action is always going to be perfect. But it would behoove me to do my best to be the awesome, loving person that I was born to be. Even if I am. Even if I do everything perfect, doesn't mean that every circumstance, every individual, and every phenomenon in my life will treat me perfect. But my life will be happier and more meaningful because of that. Sometimes, when we experience misfortune, it's because of our bad karma ripening. Now here's the radical teachings. Sometimes when we experience something that's painful or at least inconvenient, it could be our good karma ripening. If for lifetime after lifetime we've traversed the spiritual path, and if we've always dedicated or aimed the energy of our good karma towards the outcomes of becoming enlightened, then it stands to reason that it's possible that some of the inconveniences we experience now might be the answer to a prayer. Maybe what's required to fulfill our previous aspirations of completing the path. Is that a certitude? No, I don't deal in certitudes, I deal in possibilities. So our present moment experience as a liberal is not necessarily an indictment. Sometimes what happens is just what happens, and it's up to us to make the most of it. So it's fun and empowering. It can be fun and empowering to see everything as affected by cause and effect. That everything affects everything, if not directly, then indirectly, if not rapidly, then eventually, if not actually, then potentially. Everything affects everything. And because we generate good karma and we dedicate our good karma with those 3 recitations at the end of every meditation, it's possible that everything can work to our benefit, even if it's not convenient in the moment. And so that's why, rather than raise a shaking fist towards the skies and saying, how can this happen to me after all the great things I've done, it can be more empowering to say or ask, how could karma be quite just? Which infers, how could karma be beneficial? How could cause and effect be serving me, even when it does not seem or feel that way? How karma be quite just? And of course, karma is Sanskrit for cause. Karma is short for the phrase karma klesha, which means cause affliction or cause and effect. There's a lot of abbreviation in language. Language is a fluid, ever-changing thing. So when we say karma, we mean causality or cause and effect. How karma be quite just? Let's play with this right now. The final of the 4 contemplations of this series, or the set of renunciation-oriented contemplations, is this. How this chance be precious. I don't want to go through life as a victim, needlessly compounding my sufferings. How about you? I want to go through life, perish the thought, proactively. I want to go through life seizing it by the throat and saying, who's your daddy? See, here's the deal. Let's talk about Buddha. What is the enlightenment that Buddha offers us? Is it freedom from the presence of sufferings? Well, when we look at the most ancient texts, especially when they're translated into English, you see that Buddha experienced sufferings before he was enlightened, when he was still just the monk Gautama. We also see that he experienced sufferings after enlightenment, such when people were murdered and their corpses were buried beside their hut, such when petty teachers burned with jealousy against him, such when the men, the laity, lost their minds when he allowed women to ordain, which was unheard of 26 centuries ago. Such as the times when he had to see his monks die during times of plague. Such as times when he saw division rack the Sangha, the assembly of monks, and when he came to the monastery that was at the center of the division and offered to mediate, all the monks rejected him. And so he was rejected he offered his help 3 times, his help was rejected 3 times, and so he and an attendant or 2 spent the rainy season alone in the jungle. The Buddha experienced sufferings after enlightenment. So either A, Buddha's big fat fraud, which I don't find empowering, or B, perhaps our definition of enlightenment needs a little tweaking. What if enlightenment was not freedom from the presence of suffering? What if enlightenment was the freedom from the tyranny of sufferings? Sufferings still come and they still go. We're not the all-powerful masters of time, space, and dimension. Stuff still happens outside of our control. But sufferings are no longer our boss. Impulses are still there, but they are no longer our boss. Perhaps you remember me saying there's 3 types of people. There's Buddhas, there's Bodhisattvas, and there's boobs. A boob. We've each been a boob. We've each been just like Homer Simpson. We've each had our moments when we're complete slaves to our impulse, or the impulse of desire, or the impulse of rage, or the impulse of panic. We've all been slaves to our impulses. Bodhisattva says, listen, I defy my impulses. I choose to subvert my impulses through the cunning use of Buddha's mental yogas, through the cunning use of Buddha's techniques, such as his techniques of wisdom, peace, love, and joy. Then what's a Buddha? A Buddha is just a bodhisattva. He's gotten so good at Buddha's mental yogas, he's mastered them to such a degree that now he's able to use them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. That brings us to the 4th contemplation of renunciation. How this chance be precious. When we have a grasp of the basic teachings of Buddha, every time we suffer, whether the suffering be circumstantial, physical, emotional, or intellectual, we can find a way to profit from it. In our next class, we'll learn how to use our sufferings to increase our compassion. In a previous class, we've already explored how to use our sufferings, how to increase our wisdom of letting go. So if we're really smart, if we're really cunning, gosh, I got something up my nose. Every suffering is an opportunity, a golden opportunity to increase our karma and our compassion and our wisdom. Every pleasure is a golden opportunity to purify our karma, increase our love and our wisdom. And in future lessons we'll explore that in greater detail. So right now let's just wet our palate like the appetizer before a meal. How this chance be precious. Now let's review Anapanasati's mindfulness with breathing. How long breath? Releasing. How long breath? Releasing. One syllable paradigm. Breath free. Let's revisit the metta, loving kindness that longs to lavish all others with great joy. How joy good? Releasing. How joy feel? Releasing. Now to me, give great joy. Now to some, give great joy. Now to all, give great joy. Now to each, give great joy. each joy. Let's conclude with Vipassana's union of awareness and letting go. What's seeing, releasing. What hearing, releasing. What feeling, releasing. How could this be funny? Grin with cheeks, releasing. Noticing, relaxing. This ease. That completes this morning's 27-minute guided meditation. Now, if you wanted to, you could go back and jot down all this contemplative notation and practice on your own, and probably take you about 27 minutes. Or you could use one of the links below the video. I think it's the link that takes you to the class materials page. You download the latest version of the PDF entitled First Set of Lesson Texts. And you'll see many of these contemplations written down for you. But in all honesty, that text is more for a different course, so it could be a little confusing. And it's probably better just to jot it down by hand. And so it's more educational that way anyway. I invite you now to join me for a gentle set of geriatric yoga entitled Untying the Heart's Knots. Alright, please sit erect. Please lace your hands behind your tachas. Please open your chest. Please twist to the left. While I give wise, releasing. Please reverse. Now to each, give wisdom. Back to center. Please release your hands. Release them in your lap. Swing your hands out and overhead. Please bend to the left. While I give peace, releasing. Please reverse. Now to each, give great peace. Back to center. Please make your way into downward facing fetal position, which is of course also known as child's pose. Give to each, love for all. Please curl your fingers into fists. Please rest your knuckles upon your yoga blanket, just above your knees. Please rapidly straighten your arms and ride the momentum into a seated samurai position, which is also known as lion's pose. Please lace your hands behind your tush. Please open your chest, drop your head, roll your gaze up. What's seeing, really sing. Please release your hands. Please cup your palms, gently press your hands together, relax your shoulders down. Please use your hands to press into a left turning twist. While I give joy, releasing. Back to center. Relax the shoulders down. Press into a right twist. Give to each. Now to each give great joy. Back to center. Relax your shoulders down. Make your way into the hands and knees position in preparation for cat-cow asana. Now to each give comfort. Please stand up. Balance your weight upon the major and minor ball of each foot, right behind your big and little toe, heels off the yoga blanket. Central bend in your legs, hips thrust forward, hands laced behind your tush, chest open, head dropped, gaze rolled up. How could this be funny? Grin with eyes, really sing. Noticing, relaxing. Okay. Let's conclude by performing the 3 verbal recitations, which you can find in the close of every lesson in the text entitled First Set of Lesson Text. It's a free PDF you can download off of the class materials page by using the links below the video. Say that 3 times fast, I dare you. Okay. Let's start with 2 repetitions, a 12-phase sun salutation. By this virtue may now accomplish the spontaneous, habitual, easy and effective mastery of Buddhist mental yogas, of wisdom, peace, love, and joy, and now lead every living being, without exception, to this ground. May everyone be healthy, wealthy, and happy. May everyone practice skillfully and joyfully. May everyone accomplish music in this life, and then help many others do likewise. For truly that is the meaning of life. Om Mani Padme Hum. Let's conclude with 2 repetitions of Vietnamese-inspired bows. May I always be cared for throughout all my lives by the Buddha of compassion emanating as my kind teacher. And as such, may I always enthusiastically and joyfully tread this excellent path praised by the conquerors. Well, my friends, I thank you for your time, your kind attention, your support, and your enthusiasm to meditate twice a day, every day. May you and yours be healthy and happy. Om Mani Padme Hum. Before you go, I'd like to invite you to find the subscribe button, give that a click, as well as the like button and the share button. Before you go, find the YouTube button over here. It'll take you to the home page. Bottom left-hand corner of the page, you'll see a heading that reads Manage Subscriptions. Click that, look up either Lama Jigme or Tantric Sex God 1, and put a little check mark in the box to the right, which will allow you to receive email notifications the next time I upload a video. Hey, remember those links I told you about below the video? You could use one of those links to help keep this monk fed, which is quite lovely, but not mandatory. If you can't do it, you can't do it. Ain't no thing. There is an additional link you could use to register for the next series of live weekly webinars. When do they begin? Monday, the 6th of May. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.